pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Nerf Secrets Revealed. So, I will say for sure, there's a lot of things that are pretty much going on here within the last couple of months, and I could say, it's been not even 2 months since I had uploaded the re-release version of Bolts of Intrigue Part 1, but I actually have gotten a few questions recently about what the second part of the film is going to be like. And you know what? I don't know about you. I'm normally not in the mood for spoilers, but I certainly will actually just give out a few answers here and there. So, there's a couple questions revolving around the film's progress itself, and my answer to that is, well, it will be done soon. But the fact is that I have a lot of time, and I mean a lot. The film itself isn't going to be, well, finished for maybe 10-15 weeks or so, and that's only because, aside from the fact that I've already assembled the type of, well, filmography that I'm going to have set up, and the fact that I've already decided on the locations that I'm going to be using for the film's, well, progression, I can say for sure that it's going to take quite a while to finish that whole thing up. And I will also say really quickly that I'm still surprised at the fact that Part 1 still has a time length of 51 minutes. That's way more than what I was expecting. I was only expecting to get like 35 minutes in total, but 51? I guess adding a large, well, opening scene that kind of acts like a prologue or some sort, not to mention the interview scenes, and even that long extended scene of me walking down the streets, I guess that goes to show that all that stuff can add up pretty quickly. And I guess if I keep utilizing these sort of, well, simple yet coherent and compelling skills that I got here, there's a good chance that I might have Part 2 done in maybe 1 week only of continuous filming. I guess it all depends, but still. There's a good chance that I might stick to the 60-minute long time frame that I originally anticipated, because even though I've already said that I was hoping to get around 94-95 minutes of a time frame for the entire film itself from start to finish, I could always extend it, because to accommodate all this new stuff that's been coming in, I guess there probably has to be a lot of new material that sets in. So you could probably expect some new stuff to come along here and there, like some new additions to the plot, as well as some new points given to the fact that it's been a little complex since day one. I mean, since I had uploaded the original version back in August of 2019, it's no surprise that there is going to be a lot of new things to come about, and also to have a lot of this new stuff come around. I could say that the film's progression itself is it's certainly going to be a pretty long ride. But if there's one more question that I have to answer, it's that, well, the plot itself is still going to remain the same. I mean, of course, if you haven't already seen it, then, well, I might as well break it down for you. The film itself starts off in January of 2020 with a new decade full of possibilities and exciting opportunities that could possibly come into play. But I end up sitting down for an interview with a Russian-American journalist who ends up wanting to find out what has happened with me psychologically. Because as the film basically takes you on a bit of a journey across the entire township of Menominee Falls, it basically just goes to show that a lot has certainly happened to me. It would make sense given to the fact that I've had simple problems like this take place in real life. No joke. I've put out my real life self out there on those streets, and I filmed myself doing all of those things that I normally do, just to prove a point about me. But anyways, December 11th of 2019 is basically the first scene that we get taken back to when the interview segments seem to be over, but no, they occasionally come back here and there, with shots of me sitting back down in the chair and the like, but still. It all comes down to the point which that I simply exit out of the alumni club after a bit of a lunch with some buffalo wings. Then I head down to the gym, which was somewhat empty. Then I head back down to, well, the car because given to the fact that December of 2019 was a time where I had my full license. Of course, I was able to drive legally without supervision at that time, so there's another point that would make sense. And of course, I end up getting into an automotive accident. That's what the film shows. It's not really what happened in real life. Although I have had some real life accidents, but they were not as awful as the one that was showcased in the film itself. Then of course it cuts back to the interview, where I simply talk a little bit more about some stuff that has happened even further in the past. And that of course is where it takes us to the original scenes of the original version of Bolts of Intrigue Part 1, taking place on June 18th of 2019. That right there is basically where a lot of the old events that we've seen before have taken place. But then of course, one of the biggest notable differences is that of course, instead of just having the quick fade to black sort of thing taking place like in the original, I've simply just had some, well, extra shots here and there. And wow, I certainly went a long way with that. There are multiple shots that have taken place of the walk from the house to the park, Spassland Park, on that time. And then of course the same exact events unfold, with the same exact ending taking place. But of course there is no "to be continued" put down below, because instead the real ending is when during the interview, the same interview, it cuts to that same scene one more time, where Vikarev, the journalist, ends up getting shot, assassinated. A bullet breaks through a window, and Vikarev ends up dying on the spot. I end up turning off the camera, and simply put, that is the end of Part 1. The real ending of Part 1. But yet there's still one last question that I should answer. I will say for sure that the reason why I have to make a re-release of Part 1 is simply because at the time of the original's release back in August of 2019, 11 months ago, pretty much, there have been some confusion taking place because I have shown the film to a lot of people, especially as a bit of a sponsorship sort of event at the Marcus Theaters Corporation. That's right, I've had the film shown to people at the Marcus Theaters Corporation. And I gotta say, I've definitely received a lot of positive feedback here and there, and some critics have given me somewhat positive reviews of it, usually tallying into about 7.0, 8.0 in terms of, well, scores and the like. Though, it is only a matter of time before the film itself actually gets a score by popular sites like Metacritic or IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes, but still. Some people mainly complained about how confusing the plotline was, so that's pretty much where the re-release version that came out this past May comes in. And eventually when Part 2 comes out, I will end up combining both of these parts together and having them set for a preliminary release of the full version on January 1st, 2021. So simply put, I still got a long way to go before it's all done, but still, there's going to be a lot to it. Let's not expect a lot of new spoilers though to come around here and there, because after all, not many people like that. But anyways, if you want to see more, go down on my channel. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.